Hey guys, and I just held a live stream live, and I was answering your questions about hair loss, about regrowth and inflammation, and other things that are hair loss related. And if you didn't have time to attend it, you can check the recording now, and I have uploaded all of it. And I definitely recommend to watch it to the end because there is a lot of valuable information about hair loss, about hair regrowth that can help you to address this problem by yourself and solve it once and for all. Thanks for watching, guys, and enjoy your live stream. Welcome to today's live stream, and today I'm going to answer questions again that you have been posting in my YouTube channel over last week, and afterwards I will take live questions that you may have in chat box. And yeah, basically I will just crack into questions, and for you guys who do attend live stream live, I have added some bonus as well that you can check out. It is very helpful to address different acne and pimples issue on your scalp that often is a problem for us with inflammation, and this method works very well. So you can find it in chat box in the bonus sections there. And if you guys want to join my program or want to know more about it, you can schedule a call in the link I have added there as well. So, okay, let's get started with the question rankings. All right, guys. First question is about Finasteride and microneedling. Will it work at the age of 22? Yes, in most cases it will work as long as it is DHT that is causing your hair loss, right? If it's something else, then of course it's more questionable. Next question is about how often do you microneedle and what length of the needles? Also, did you apply minoxidil right after? Yes, I can answer that one. Basically, I do microneedle like in the past when I was growing back my hair, I was doing it daily and I was using 1.5 in length and I did apply minoxidil right away. So how to find a hair loss root, basically root cause of the hair loss, and that question is basically something that you need to kind of find out or analyze your situation, right? You need to find out and troubleshoot what is happening. Like this is basically how I address those kind of problems in my program as well. Like for example, if the guy is losing hair, what is the reason why it's happening? Let's say, is it because of DHT? If he's taking, let's say, the DHT blocker and still is losing hair, it basically means there is something else that's causing hair loss, right? Is it inflammation? Is it stress? Right? Is it some kind of other a more unlikely thing like vitamin deficiency or vitamins or like oversupply of vitamins or other issues? So we basically need to find out and troubleshoot each each category, each possibility one by one. Right? Next one, question about microneedling 3 times a week for 10 to 15 minutes. Do you think it's effective this way? Again, it depends. If you don't have any scalp problems, doing microneedling for 10-15 minutes should be okay, right? But again, it depends. It depends on if you are applying something afterwards to kind of have some kind of growth factor into it, or it's just a microneedling you're doing. But yes, like I have seen guys who have been able to get results with just microneedling, but it takes much longer time. So. Okay, next question is about scalp massage and does it have a benefits for inflammation? And the scalp massage is something that when you are doing it, you kind of are making your scalp a bit inflamed. Right? It depends on what kind of massage you're actually using on your scalp, but in a way it makes the scalp a bit inflamed. Right? And the same also happens when you are microneedling your scalp, and by doing it, basically you are kind of inflamed the scalp, but it's a good inflammation and it stimulates growth. It has a growth factor into it. But if your scalp is inflamed previously, like from some other factors, then doing some kind of growth stimulation like scalp massage or microneedling, it will only worsen that inflammation and basically is not optimal, and the result will always be a shedding. So you need to be careful and you need to find out what is actually happening in your scalp. If your scalp is okay, there's no inflammation, then doing scalp massage is most likely a good thing and it can be helpful. So. Okay, next question. Let's see. Question about my progress. Was it straight liner, or did you take like a long time to recover? And yes, for me it was quite straight liner in the beginning, but then things kind of came up. I did get some issues. I overestimated my scalp. Then because I didn't know many things that I know now. Right? I have been learning this journey for last 12, 13 years since I was started to take Finasteride back in 2008. So it has been a journey that I have learned, but for me, yes, first 2 years were awesome. And then I kind of ended up overstoning my scalp, and it led to shedding, it led to hair fall again. And then I found out what is happening, and then I restarted the treatment, and I was able to basically gain back my results and keep those results until now. So, let's see. Otherwise, about how to counter finasteride side effects, yeah, that's a bit problematic question. Right? If you are getting finasteride side effects, so maybe you need to possibly check your DHT levels, or maybe you need to address it differently, like with topical or natural supplements. Right? It basically depends on what is happening and find a right way to address this issue. But again, it can also be other things that are causing your hair loss. It doesn't have to be just DHT. So, how often do I apply minoxidil nowadays? 3 times a week. So, and a question about stopping minoxidil after 7 years and why I'm not losing hair. I have tried to stop with minoxidil several times, and it is possible, but you need to tap it down. Right? You cannot just stop it right away. You need to slow it down, use it with the application of it. Right? Because if you just stop right away, it's like with medication, right? It basically will be a shock for your hair follicles, and they will fall out or shed out after a few months. Let's see, next one. Do you think regrowth is possible without finasteride? And you also mentioned that your hair loss comes down to inflammation and vitamin D deficiency. Yes, if your hair loss is just because of inflammation, and if it's just because of vitamin D deficiency, because vitamin D deficiency can lead to hair loss as well. So yes, solving those two things, and if you don't have too high DHT that is causing hair loss, then you will most likely regrow hair as well, right? But again, it depends on how long you have been losing hair. What is your current situation? You need to analyze your hair potential, right? Like I did talk about it in a previous video I did earlier this week, where you can kind of make an analysis of your amount of hair follicles or amount of hairs that are growing out from the same hair follicle and those kind of things, right? So it is fully possible to recover from inflammation and vitamin D deficiency regarding hair, but it also depends on if those are just only factors that are causing it. Let's see. Regarding question about ketoconazole cream instead of shampoo on the scalp, my scalp is dry and has some acne. I tried ketoconazole shampoo and it didn't work. I would recommend you to check out, like if you are attending this live stream live, and if you do have still these problems, then I recommend to check out the video I just added about how I address acne pimples on my scalp if I have any, right? And it is a very effective way to do it. So definitely check that bonus if you are attending live stream lives. How can we check our DHT levels? You can take a blood test, for instance, or hormonal test. Hey, I have a seborrheic dermatitis, alopecia, and I am experiencing several hair loss and thinning. Finasteride is not working so far. Any advice? Yes, you need to solve seborrheic dermatitis because if seborrheic dermatitis, if you keep having it over time, at some point it will cause inflammation. Like seborrheic dermatitis itself, it's a condition that not necessarily causes hair loss, but over time, if it comes and goes all the time, and there's a lot of those ups and downs there, then basically it will lead to some inflammation after some time, right? And this is basically what is happening in your case. So you need to address it and solve it, and then most likely finasteride will start to work against it. A question about laser therapy and if it helps thicken up existing hair and density. Yes, like in a way it can help you, right? It can help you maybe by 5-10%, right? But it's not a game changer. Right? It's not like, for me, game changer was basically minoxidil and dermatitis, so microneedling. That was game changer. But I have tried laser therapy 2 times actually. Like I did a video about it a few weeks ago, and it did help some, right? But if your hair loss is very aggressive, it has been going on for a very long time, or and those kind of things, then it's not that much you can get out of laser therapy, right? If your hair if my hair now and I would do laser therapy, then I could get some more improvements without doubt. But if the hair loss is, let's say, too advanced, there are possibly different things going on in your scalp and those kind of things, then basically laser therapy won't do much. It will basically be wasting your time. So. Question about how many years do you use Finasteride? I have been using it since 2008, so it is quite some time, almost 13 years now. So yeah, it still has been working for me. So next question is about wearing hats, heavy sweating, and hair loss. It seems this could cause some inflammation. Yes, it can cause inflammation, and you need to be careful. And I did talk about this issue in one of my previous live streams. I think that was like a month ago. And wearing hats is problematical, right? Because when you are wearing hats and you have inflammation and possibly maybe hat is too tight on your scalp, then basically it will lead to more inflammation. To get sweat there maybe some bacteria can start to grow out there as well, like fungus. But there are like basically there are three types of bacteria on the scalps that can happen, right? And if you're not careful, if you're not aware of the different materials, how they can affect your scalp, then wearing hat and sweating under there can be a big issue and basically fire up inflammation even more. And it has happened for me. So, and I have seen also this issue for some of the guys who have been in my program in the past, that we basically need to be careful on what we are actually wearing on our scalp and make sure that we are not sweating heavily under this. Question about zinc supplements and how much I take. I take 25 mg, like I cycle it, like I take it every other month. And the brand I'm using is GNC. Regarding question about what is a typical hair loss, normally if everything is fine and inflammation is under control, DHT and stress is under control, and you also mentioned that dermatologists say 50 to 100 here, it's normal. It basically depends, right? I have seen some guys who have even less than that, like there is like less than 20 hairs maybe, right? So it basically depends on what is happening. Like for example, when I do everything perfect and my scalp is perfect and I follow every step of my treatment plan, then I maybe lose around 20 to 30 hairs, right? Possibly even less, 15 to 25 hairs. But when things are a bit out of control, I'm not kind of that conscious about what is kind of going on, then I can lose up to past 30 years a day, and then basically I know that there is some kind of problems that I need to address. Question about does Minoxidil work alone? Yes, of course it does, but again, it's just a growth stimulator, right? And I have been talking about extensively in other videos in the past, and Minoxidil alone, it can work very well, but if you do have some other underlying issues, then it will not work, right? Because it does nothing to solve underlying problems of the hair loss. Question about drinking alcohol and does it increase hair loss? Can it be a trigger? Like it depends again on what type of alcohol you're drinking. Like for example, if I drink just like a beer, it doesn't matter. But if it's a stronger alcohol drinks, then it can trigger shedding day after. But it's kind of short-term shedding. Right? It's not like it's not something that will keep happening. It's just short-term shed for a next day, and then here kind of stabilize and things become normal, right? But of course, if you keep having alcoholic drinks often, then basically it is not optimal, right? Especially if they are stronger alcohols in the pictures. Let's see, question about will Finasteride help if one is having DOPA? Like I did have a DOPA on my sides in 2008 when I started with Finasteride, but I would say minimal. It has a minimal effect on it, right? Because I did address all my scalp issues at that time as well. So I think addressing scalp problems and taking different supplements had more effect than just Finasteride for my DOPA situations back then. So, and I remember when I started with Minoxidil in 2013, basically my sides had recovered, and I did talk about it in the previous video. So I was able to recover my sides. So it was not because of Minoxidil and Dermatitis. Last question is about intermittent fasting and has it any benefits on here? Like I kind of do it myself. What I do is basically that I skip a breakfast. I don't have my meal until around 12 o'clock. Let's say I wake up around 8. Then I have my first meal at 12. And then I have a dinner at 7 or 8. And basically, if it has any benefits or here, no, I would not say that it has played in that much because I started with it like 4 years ago. And like most of my regrowth was back in 2013, 2014, and at that time I didn't follow intermittent fasting. So I would say if it has an effect on the hair, that's the hair effect is quite minimal, right? So it's not a game changer. But again, it's kind of, it makes you robust, right? So it basically makes you more robust and makes you kind of keep your body in a shape, like in functional shape without having meals all the time. So I kind of like it myself as well. Okay, guys, those are the questions I have kind of summed up. Let's see, I will check now the chat box and see what you have been writing and check out those questions. All right. Let's see, first question about head and shoulders to wash your hair against fungus. Like, yes, I guess head and shoulders can work. I don't like it, but and there are better options to fight fungus than head and shoulders, but it is an option you can try out. And basically, if you feel that your scalp doesn't feel good after using it, so basically means that it's not the right shampoo for you. So. Next question is about supplements. And supplements, basically, I guess you kind of want to know which supplements to take. And it basically depends, right? Because yes, we can take, let's say, for example, biotin, right? But again, how much effect you actually can get from it is questionable. I would recommend either look into what kind of deficiencies you may have, right? And find from those deficiencies what kind of supplements you need to take. Because yes, you can take like 10 different supplements, but if they have that kind of theoretically stimulate hair growth, but again, if they are not addressing your underlying problems, then they will basically be waste of your money. So I would look from the possible deficiencies when you are actually finding out what kind of supplements you are going to need to take. So. A question about my hairline and if it has volumized asset in 2015. Like, yes, the thing is that for me is that if I follow my plan step by step and I do implement the things I'm actually talking about and are aware what I'm doing on daily basis, then yes, if I'm kind of get a bit distracted and I don't do the things I should be doing, then again I have increased shedding, right? Because the thing with hair loss is that you always need to be to the point. You always need to optimize everything and be kind of aware that small things can have big impact that can lead to shed. And that's why I kind of need to be careful. For example, a few weeks ago, I was taking some gym supplements with amino acid profiles that was not optimal. And what happened is that basically I had quite an extensive shedding. Right. So my point here is that small things that one is not kind of conscious of can cause problems, right? So basically, one always needs to be self-aware, always be able to analyze the situation and catch the patterns early before they cause any damage. Yes, how many times you wash your hair each week? I do it daily. I wash my hair daily. Question about white flakes on the hair. Depends, like, is it a dandruff, is it the flakes? Like, those are kind of two different things. Is it your scalp dry itself or is it oily, right? So it's not that simple to answer, because if you use wrong way to address this problem, it can make basically things worse, right? So you need to find out, I need to have more information. So. Do you recommend microneedling without minoxidil? Again, microneedling itself, it can help to stimulate hair growth because it's kind of makes mini inflammation in your scalp. but it only will work if everything else is perfect, right? And if there is any underlying conditions, any underlying issues that are going on, then it basically won't work. So. But if, let's say, assume everything's perfect, then yes, microneedling alone can give you results. But it also depends on how long you have been losing here. It also depends how aggressive is your hair loss, right? For example, if you have been using here for the last 10 years and it's very aggressive, then basically microneedling won't do much. But if you are in early 20s and you have just a bit receding temples or hairline, then microneedling can work quite well. But it will take a longer time. I would say it will take double of time by having some kind of growth stimulant in the picture as well. I have already scalp, dandruff, and hair loss. What should I do? Yes, first of all, there are like several problems going on. Like, for example, oily scalp can be caused by DHT, so you need to check that one. And possibly also when you have kind of address DHT issue and you still have let's say oily scalps, and you need to find out what is causing it, right? Maybe it's diet, maybe it's topically, right? You need to troubleshoot and find out what is happening. So, is it common for finasteride to take over 6 months to see any results? No, it's not. You should be able to see, like, for most guys, if they don't address everything that can cause hair loss and are not optimizing everything to make hair strong and remove any inflammation, then it can take a long time to see results from finasteride. And some guys just kind of slow down hair fall. They don't stop it, they don't get regrowth. But if everything is perfect, if you are addressing everything else and everything is good, then yes, you can get results, and it should not take 6 months. It should take like maybe 3 months to see first results sticking up the hair, and 6 months to see quite noticeable here. You can check my previous live streams where I show my pictures on how I was able to recover just by finasteride. So it is possible, but if it takes longer than 6 months, basically there is something else that needs to be addressed that is not addressed. So. And remember that finasteride works best for 2 first years of taking it. Right? I've been talking about it previous as well, is that I was able to get nice recovery from finasteride, but then I got scalp inflammation, and the results afterwards when I solved scalp inflammation was not as good as it was before scalp inflammation. So basically, I would say that if you are starting to take finasteride for, let's say, 6 months, you need to do everything that is possible to actually have optimized your treatment plan as good as possible to get as best results as possible. So, a question about dutasteride is better than finasteride. I have been taking both of them, and for me, finasteride, I feel it's more safe, and it has been working very well. I don't see any reason to take dutasteride. Again, if your DHT levels are super high, then maybe taking finasteride is not as effective, right? Because the dutasteride blocks more of DHT. But again, you need to kind of customize it and find out your actual DHT levels before you jump on dutasteride. So. Question about still losing hair after 5 months of using finasteride. Does it mean I'm not responding to medication? Not necessarily. It basically means that maybe there is something else that is causing your hair loss. Right? It doesn't mean that it's only DHTs is causing problems. Maybe it's something else, right? And you need to kind of find out what is the reason before you jump to a conclusion that doesn't work. But yes, 5 months in taking finasteride is quite long, and you should be be able to see results much quicker. So. Let's see, guys. Okay, if there is more questions, drop them in chat box before I answer today. And again, reminder for you guys who are on the live stream live, this is a bonus video for you, and basically to show how to address acne pimples in your scalp in a very effective way, right? Let's see. Question about finasteride for the guys in 50s. Yes, it is possible to get the results from it. But again, it depends on how long hair loss has been running on, how aggressive it is, and if it's only DHT that's causing it. So. Regarding a question about topical finasteride, will it give any regrowth or strength for hair? Yes, I would say topical finasteride. I have been using it for a few months now, like last 2 months, and it has a growth factor in it, right? Like when you take oral finasteride, it also has potential for growth, but when you apply something topically, it has a more growth factor in it, and it is a possibility that you can see some regrowth from it as well. So, okay, guys, like I said, check out the bonus that I added in the chat box. And for you guys who want to join my program, you can schedule a call here. Otherwise, I will end for today. And basically, if there's any questions, you can drop them under this live stream, and I will address them in the next one. So, okay, thanks for attending, guys, and speak soon. Cheers.